We continue with the broadcast this morning. Now, last night, Salam Media had hosted what we called a water in Daba, and this was a roundtable discussion with regards to the water crisis that is experienced here in Robertsham and surrounding areas. In March this year, this was an area that one went 21 days without water, and there was protest action. It had then been resolved within 2 days, but we learned last night that for 2 weeks now, for 14 days, this area has been without water, or parts of the area has been without water. Now, one thing we also cannot understand, that within a single area, you have a few streets that may have water, there may be streets that may not have water, and this is the reason why we hosted this water in Daba. Now, we invited a whole host of players. In fact, all the players that should have been there. It was sad to note that the local councillors, elected officials of the residents of Robertsham, were not present because they had some other commitment, and apparently they needed to be in caucus until around 10 p.m. So the councillors who are supposedly here to represent their communities were not here. Then we had players like Rand Water, and rainwater being the bulk supplier of water. And they had decided that they will not attend for one simple reason: is they said that they will only issue a statement once they know there is a problem. So this is the reason why they were not around. And then we had to delay proceedings as a result of Joburg Water, who came, but decided that they could not participate because this was going to be a live broadcast, and they are not mandated to attend with live broadcast. So basically, what they wanted was a closed meeting. But despite Salam Media reaching out to the head of communications, explaining to them that we are a media organization, and it is obvious, expected from a media organization, that this will be broadcasted, and they did not want this to be broadcasted. And also, the other reason that we were given by Joburg Water, and these are the people who provide, or who are supposed to provide water directly to the residents of Robertsham, saying that because rainwater was not present, they could not participate. So these were the reasons, and these were key players that did not attend this meeting. But we also had the community leaders. We had Zubair Patel, who is one of the community leaders in the area. We had a number of other representatives from the community in Robertsham that were present at the forum. We had Professor Hamad Kassan, who is a steering committee member of the South African Water Chamber, a global expert in water and sanitation with over 30 years of experience. And he was there, and we utilized this opportunity to gain maximum value out of the discussion. And I must say, for me, it was an eye opener. It was a masterclass as far as water is concerned. There was just so much that Professor Hamant had actually brought to the discussion last night to gain a better understanding, to get a deeper understanding on the number of issues that are playing out as far as water is concerned. And a lot, in fact, the people in the audience had actually appreciated the presence of Professor Hamad Kassan. And this is what we are going to be doing this morning to share with you, because I don't think Robertsham is unique or alone as far as the water crisis is concerned. Many areas right across the entire country. And this is the way we look at it at Salam Media. Although it had to do with a particular area, this discussion had actually focused and given many other people food for thought when you are faced with the water crisis that the people of Robertsham have been faced with. So we're going to play out about 12 minutes of the discussion that we had last night at the Salam Media Water in Daba.
I think it was very, very insightful. It's such a pity that neither Joburg Water nor Rainwater are here tonight, because essentially that's what we're here for. We need answers. You know, the community's been battling in these wards, as we mentioned, 54, 55, and so on, going on for weeks. Now, going back to March, like they pointed out a few minutes ago, we had a 20 21-day cutoff. The impact on people's lives for 21 days, you can make do without electricity. You can work around it and you can plan your life a bit. But cut water off for 21 days, it is absolute havoc. You can only plan that much. You can only buy a water tanker that many times. You can only rely on being mobile and getting to bowl so many times a day. Now, how much water do you take? How much water do you take home? Where do you store all the stuff? It's ridiculous. Sanitation, and as Prof pointed out just now, there's countries in the world where they don't have sanitation. We are not in that position where we don't have sanitation. We're paying rates and taxes. We're paying for the services. We need to have the water flowing. I mean, this is unacceptable by both rainwater and Joburg water, that we as the public are in the dark. We're not sure who's in charge of what infrastructure, who needs to take responsibility for the valves that govern the reservoirs, which way the waters are flowing. That's not our place. That's not our space. They need to get together and figure this thing out between them, and then come back to the community and give us answers. Now, from a layperson's perspective, standing on the outside, all you see is lack of accountability, because nobody is taking responsibility for anything. If Joburg water points to rainwater, or rainwater points to Joburg water, everybody puts their hands up and then they just walk away from the issue. And it's supposed to sort itself out. Now, that's never going to happen. In any corporate business around the world, any company around the world, if there isn't accountability, the thing is, Joburg water and rainwater are no different. It's just that they're government-owned entities. Okay, rainwater, I think, is a private entity, but Prof can stand to his state-owned entity as well. So, but again, good corporate governance is needed in that space. Without that governance, we're going to have these problems. So as we sit here right now, I mean, who oversees the subcontractors? Do the subcontractors, who are they accountable to? When a shift is over and the guy signs off the job card, is the job done? Is it left over for the next guy to come at night? Do we wait till the next morning again? There's just so much loose ends. And it's a constant battle by the entire community. We talk about moms and parents, mothers especially. They go to work during the day. At the end of the day, they come home. There's kids that need to be bathed. There's food that's being prepared. There's in homes where people are now arguing between each other. And it's not their fault. It's neither the husband's fault, neither is it the wife's fault, but it's there. And these are just issues on the side. The direct impact on people's lives on an everyday basis is just flowing off of rainwater and Joburg water. And we definitely need them to be in these type of briefings, because Prof would have asked the pertinent questions. And those are the answers we need. We've got an issue going on in Ridgeway now for the last umpteen days. And what's happened is that when the water was opened a couple of days ago, there was a major pipe burst. And with that pipe burst, we lost pressure in the area. So although we were getting some water down in Ridgeway Extension, there wasn't pressure building up in the system. So you had people with low flow, you had people with bad flow. But if you're not feeding the bottom section, there isn't the backfill, and the system is not being charged all the way up. Now, the system not being charged, the guys lying in the higher areas, they're not going to get water. But having said that, the problem was resolved for 5 or 6 days. We're now back to square one because another pipe is right across the road from the old one. And now having a look at the infrastructure as they're opening up the ground to fix the water there, that's a sad state of affairs. Because you can see that is piping that needs to be replaced at some point. Now, Joburg Water's got their budget. It's their infrastructure. They need to come and tell the community, this is our plans, this is what we're going to do over the next umpteen years. We're going to be replacing X, Y, and Z. Once we know where we're going to, it puts at ease. Until such time, everybody's in the dark. It's constant bickering and arguing between people, and it's not even our fault. If we don't pay our rates into our water and lights at the end of the month, I promise you, it doesn't take them a week. It does not take them a week. They will be at your place in 24 hours to cut you off. So, in the same way, we expect delivery. They will never give you a discount on anything. They're not going to come to you and say, listen here, guys, you haven't had water for a week, you haven't had water for 2 weeks, take a 50% cut in what you normally pay. Unfortunately, so everybody keeps paying. There's townhouses being built. Now, what happened in the last umpteen years, we don't know. We're not sitting in circles within the town planning environment and so on and so forth. But these things put pressure on the infrastructure. And, from what we can see, these things are being signed off all the time. Houses are being built, constantly new developments coming up. But is there the actual budget going in, and is there an upliftment of the infrastructure to meet that development? And it's not going to get any easier. The population is not getting any smaller. Prof pointed out the numbers earlier. It's getting bigger. It's getting, the urbanization is growing at the rate of knots. And the current infrastructure looking after the current population is not being seen to. So we need some definite answers from these guys. And you know what? Giving us tankers every day, yes, that eases the plight a bit, but that's not the answer.
Zubair, I just needed to understand what level of engagement have you had until now with the likes of your councillors, Joburg Water, or even Rainwater, because Rainwater declined, and our producer Salila was told that the reason why they declined is their involvement would only be when they know an impending water cut. Okay, and at this point in time, there is no water cut, so they wouldn't want to get involved. So that was their reasoning. Joburg Water, as I mentioned earlier on, their non-participation is they have not been mandated to talk to the media and to be part of a broadcast that is going out. And that has been their position, and obviously the fact that Rainwater is not present. So just to understand, because this is a problem that's not happened now, we know of the protest action, we know what had taken place in March. Salam Media covered that protest action as well. But this is engagement that you as a community have been having through, your councillors possibly, and also with the likes of Rainwater or Joburg Water.
Well, if Joburg Water is not giving our councillors enough information, can you think the level of information that we get as lay people? I mean, that we are hiding to nothing when it comes to getting information out of these entities. So our port of call are our elected officials, and our councillors are the ones we work through. To date, when you engage the councillors, I think, and guys here will bear me out on that, is that they don't know much either. And they are constantly with their backs to the wall as well. If you even attempt to get a hold of someone at Joburg Water or Rainwater, the first thing you're going to hear is, don't quote me. Don't quote me. I'll tell you something, but don't quote me. And it doesn't help us in the least. I think we need our councillors there. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight, but I think there might be another meeting tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some more answers from them and the entities as well. I'm hoping that both the entities that are not here tonight are going to be there tomorrow, and let's hope for some answers. But as we sit here right now, I don't think anyone on this floor has any answers or any official statement from either Joburg Water or Rainwater that we can tell the greater public.
So, from what you've just heard? Your thoughts?
I can share with you maybe the way the system works from my understanding is once the water is transferred from the bulk producer past the meter to the municipality. It is then the municipality's responsibility to distribute it to your household, right? And they get metered and they get billed, and the municipality then pays every month. Now, whether the municipality is receiving the total amount that the producer is contractually bound to supply them, I don't know that, okay? Because that's a key determinant. Are they receiving enough in order to pass it on to you? Then whether the reticulator, the municipality, is having challenges of their own with their own infrastructure, be it their reservoirs, be it their pipelines, and you're sounding more and more like an expert because clearly you have indicated that the pipeline infrastructure is not in a very desirous situation, to put it diplomatically. Yes, the infrastructure is aged. This is not a peculiar problem again to South Africa. Even that situation exists even in the USA. But that's where the planning comes in. That's where the maintenance comes in. That's where the timeousness of the maintenance comes in. That's where the proactiveness comes in. So if I go back and relate to you, what are some of these key ingredients I mentioned of the countries that are able to overcome this challenge and supply water 24/7, 365 days a year, world-class quality? That's what you aspire to receive as a consumer, right? What do they do? Well, one of the key things is they have good corporate governance. And you can study all the reports in the world. In my experience from my global work that I've done,